I used to tell this joke every time I would see or hear a frog. I would say, "Oh, maybe this is my prince, and he's been turned into a frog by some scary witch. So I need to kiss him to dissolve the spell so he becomes my prince again." And last summer, when I was visiting one of my teachers in upstate New York, she had a frog in her garden who was so loud. I made that joke again. She looked at me and she said, "Sasha, maybe enough kissing frogs? Maybe you can finally kiss the prince that doesn't need to grow to be at your level?" That was a good one. But today's episode is not about that. That's a story for a different time. So in 2025, instead of kissing frogs, I decided I'm gonna use their poison and put it on my skin to heal myself. So today's episode will be about Kambo medicine. Hi, my dear listener. How are you doing? The Dark Muse is back here with your weekly inspirational and motivational content on your journey of rediscovering who you truly are. I worked with different plant medicines throughout my life, but somehow I thought that this one I will never try. It didn't resonate with me before. It didn't call my name. I had a very limited perception of why people would do Kambo, which is basically detoxifying the body from all the harmful chemicals that someone might be consuming. And I never really fit into that category. Plus, I was always scared of having scars on the skin where the medicine is applied because I wanted to be perfect, and who needs another scar? But I guess there is the right time for everything. And just like that, I found myself thinking about Kambo late in December 2024, going into January. As I was starting this podcast too, it kind of aligned. My intuition started guiding me towards exploring Kambo, and the informational field around me started reflecting my intention of finding out more, of learning more, and discovering the right person to do it with. Before I say anything else, I want to make a disclaimer that I'm not encouraging anyone to play around with this strong medicine. I am simply sharing my story and my experience with it, so you can learn more or receive a confirmation if this is something you've been already considering and just needed another sign. But anyways, with any plant medicine, it is very important to do it only when it resonates with you and only when it's truly your wish, your desire coming from within, not because someone else is doing it or because it's getting trendy. And it's also important to find the right guide, the right practitioner that you can trust, someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who respects the medicine and the process around it. And you will have a way better process and result from working with any plant medicine if it called you in instead of you forcing yourself to go explore it, if it makes sense. What is Kambo? Kambo is a traditional healing practice that uses the secretion of a giant monkey frog from Amazon rainforest. The poison of the frog is applied to the skin, which causes detox of the body and healing, both physical and spiritual. Kambo is considered a very strong and efficient immune booster. And that was one of the primary reasons why I got called to consider that medicine. I've been having chronic sinus problems my entire life from my childhood, and lately I started getting sick more often. And I was really tired of endless medications and antibiotics. Every time I would get sick with cold or flu and my sinus issues would get triggered, no one likes that. And I wanted to try something different to boost my immune system so I can be in full health, protected from viruses and infections, to continue creating As I started researching Kambo back in December, I also received some unpleasant test results from my doctor, which are related to female reproductive system. There is nothing to worry about. This is not life-threatening, but this is something that I also wanted to help my body resolve naturally instead of having unnecessary procedures. And I'm still scheduled to see a doctor in March because that's the earliest they can in the US. Hello, US healthcare system. And a few girlfriends of mine who had similar problems in the past told me that Kambo really helped them heal those without the doctor's intervention. So I had two strong reasons to try out Kambo. The next step was to find the right practitioner. I would never go to someone that I simply found on the internet, especially with ceremonies like that. I would always ask around and find the person that resonates with me and the person that came through a mutual connection that I trust. And funny how manifestation works these days. As I set myself an intention to find the Kambo practitioner in Miami, 2 days later, my friend posted on Instagram that she started doing Kambo with this beautiful practitioner, and she is 15 minutes away from where I live. It was a match. What I loved about this specific practitioner, she offers consultation calls before you commit to any ceremonies with her. So I messaged her, we scheduled a call, and we talked for good 40 minutes where she explained to me everything. By the way, no frogs are harmed in the process of collecting their poison. She explained where she studied, the way she was trained, where she's getting her product from, all the potential side effects, all health conditions that would prevent someone from undergoing a ceremony like that. She explained step by step what's going to happen before the ceremony and during the ceremony. I could tell right away that she's super passionate about what she's doing and she really believes in it. And she values it and she preserves the tradition using this medicine with respect for the highest good. So I said, yes, when can we start? For the first timers that never tried Kambo, this specific practitioner recommends having 3 sessions in 28 days to get introduced to the medicine properly and to receive the best effects. And I knew right away that I'm going to do all 3 because if I'm doing it, I want to do it properly and get the best benefit that I can. The ceremonies are held in the morning because you're supposed to do it on an empty stomach. Here's how you prepare. There is no specific diet that you need to follow. For example, when you go to ayahuasca retreat, you need to stay on a certain diet for a week or maybe 10 days prior. With Kambo, you don't really have to adjust your diet. You're actually encouraged to continue eating the way you normally eat. But there are certain substances like alcohol or recreational drugs or medications that you need to stay off for a certain period of time before you can do Kambo. And what I loved about my practitioner, she sent me a whole list of different substances with the timing of how long you need to be off that substance to be able to do Kambo safely. None of those applied to me, so I really didn't have to change anything. The only thing I had to do is to stop eating at midnight the night before. I usually don't eat past 8 p.m. anyways, so it was pretty doable. And the morning of the ceremony, you're not supposed to drink water. You only drink a measured amount of water right before you start the ceremony to avoid unnecessary side effects. I did 3 ceremonies in 3 weeks, so 3 Fridays in a row, that was my morning activity. With my practitioner, the first ceremony is slightly different because she likes to make sure that people that never tried that medicine feel calm and release their anxiety and get grounded in their body. So she offers a 30-minute tuning fork session with some Reiki to align your chakras and make sure that you're peaceful and relaxed and not panicking. When she scanned my body in the very beginning, she said that in general, my chakras are very aligned and I must be doing something right in my life and I should continue doing the practices to preserve that state. And two things that she noted were first, that my throat chakra is open, but not super stable yet. And I told her that I've been working on opening my throat chakra for the past few years through singing lessons and now starting this podcast and speaking my truth. And it's an act of getting out of comfort zone for me. Sometimes it's not easy for me to record those. I still feel nervous. I still mix up words. I still have to re-record things multiple times, which is okay. So I told her about that. And the second thing that she noted was about my solar plexus, which is the third chakra that is responsible for the self-esteem and self-worth. And showing up as who I am was way too open. And I've never heard that term before. I know what it means when the chakra is blocked, when the energy is not flowing properly, but I've never heard the term of the chakra being too open. So I asked her, what does it mean? And she said that most likely I'm giving too much of myself to other people and I need stronger personal boundaries in my life. And let me tell you, that hit the spot. This is something I've been working on for the past few years, to give less. It was a very nice way for me to get aligned and combine it with my intentions for the ceremony. And I felt like I was ready. And here's how it happens. You sit down, you state your intention, you say a prayer, and after that you drink 2 measured cups of water. Next, you choose which part of the body you will be applying frog's poison to. And there are multiple options. Shoulder is one of them, and the most popular one for a few reasons. First of all, it heals pretty fast, so you'll have less chances of permanent scarring. Also, it is quite close to your heart, so the medicine starts working faster and you have better results. The second option is to do it on the ankle, which I initially considered but was advised against just because it takes a way longer time for the ankle to heal because we are always on our feet. We are walking, we are running around, we're going to the gym, we're dancing. So it will take 2 or 3 times longer for those burns to heal. There's also an option to do it on your back, but it's going to be more intense and that's not a good fit for the first timer. I decided to do it on my shoulder. Next, a practitioner uses a burning stick to create a number of small burns on the skin. Then the blistered skin is scraped off and Kambo is applied to those tiny burns. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, I'm going to show you my shoulder right now. This is what it's looking like after 3 ceremonies. I got 3 dots in each ceremony. The top ones, the 3 dots here, are from the first ceremony. 3 dots underneath are from the second ceremony, and the third ceremony included the bottom one and 1 on each side. At first, she applied the poison only to 1 dot to see how I would react, how I would feel, and if everything is okay, she would apply the other 2. I was sitting with my eyes closed when she applied the first dot. In about 30 seconds, I started feeling this warmth going from my shoulder to my arm and to the rest of my body. I felt that my face was flushing red, my temperature increased, my pulse went up, but not too much, maybe 120. I exercise and I dance a lot, so I'm used to my pulse rising and I'm used to cardio. So that was not so bad. I expected worse. What I also felt that my ears were swollen inside, like there was something in my ear, like an ear pod. I even had to like touch my ears to make sure there was nothing inside. And in a few minutes, she asked me how I was doing. I was actually enjoying it. And she said that I'm doing fantastic, so she's going to apply the rest. When she added the other 2 dots, the process intensified a little bit, and I felt like the medicine was traveling around my body, scanning for different issues that needed to be fixed. It started going through my heart to my stomach, and around 8th minute of the process, I felt the urge to get well, to purge. And there is a special bucket in front of you. So I felt really nauseous and I started purging, and it was just the water coming out of my body, but it was yellowish. It was so disgusting. It was so bitter. I've never tasted anything like that in my life. And I was throwing up for a good 5 minutes. But the first cleanse is the hardest one because everything that needs to leave your body is literally coming out. Even when I stopped throwing up, I still had that bitter taste in my mouth. That was unbearable. So I asked, what is this? Why is it tasting so bad? And she told me that this is the taste of the pharmaceuticals. All the antibiotics and all the medications that I've been taking while being so sick so often. It was a great liver cleanse that needed to happen. And from a spiritual perspective, she told me that based on the color of my purge, shame, guilt, and judgment left my body. A typical ceremony lasts around 20 minutes, but I could only do 13 for the first time because I felt very tired after purging for 5 minutes nonstop. So she offered me to take it off earlier, and I agreed. And after that, I was just listening to the music and relaxing. And then she brought me tea and shared some pictures and notes, wrote everything down, answered any questions that I had, and sent me home. What was interesting, and this is something that I didn't notice, but she told me and she showed me the pictures. In the very beginning, my hands became bluish and eventually started swelling and turning more pink. I naturally have very cold hands. So I know that my blood circulation in my hands is not flowing properly. And that's what medicine was fixing. Same thing happened in the second ceremony, but way less. And by the time of the third ceremony, it just didn't happen anymore. I came back home and I was feeling quite tired because I felt like I released a lot physically and mentally, and I allowed myself to take it easy and rest and recharge and hydrate myself and read a book and go to sleep early that day. And in a week, I showed up for my second session. For my second ceremony, my intention was to continue working with my feminine energy, the place of creation, my womb, my creativity, where it all begins, and also opening up my throat chakra even more, becoming more confident in speaking my truth, in singing, and communicating with people. The second time, I didn't need chakras tuning, so we went right into the ceremony. I drank the water, we burned the 3 dots, and she applied the frog poison to all 3 of them right away. The process was more intense from the beginning just because I received a higher dosage of the poison at the same time. Same feeling, flushing, the pulse increasing, my ears getting swollen a little bit. The purge happened faster, probably around the 5th minute, and it was clear. No taste, no color, just pure water. And the majority of my session, I really felt like the medicine was working with my womb. I felt a lot of low belly pain and cramps, like I'm having a really bad first day of my period. But I knew that the medicine was doing its work and I just needed to breathe through it and sit with it. That was one of my intentions why I came here, and I knew that the healing was happening at that moment. So I handled it like a warrior. Sit through the whole 20 minutes, rested afterwards, drank some tea, and went home. I felt quite energized after the second session, and also I was really happy that my purge second time was completely clean, meaning that the first session really did its magic with detoxing my body and cleansing me from within. 5 days after my second session, I got my period. And it was the worst period ever. It was so painful. I was bleeding so much. But I knew that whatever I healed 5 days ago was coming out of me. And that was a part of the process. My final session was scheduled in 2 days. And I even thought for a second that if it's not gonna get better tomorrow, I will have to reschedule because it's just too painful to do anything, not to say sit through a session that most likely will work with that area of my body again. But surprisingly, after the first day, everything was gone. The pain was gone. I wasn't bleeding that much anymore. I felt great and I was really looking forward to the third session. And the night before the third session, I really felt like it's going to be a magical one, a special one, the most healing one. I showed up to my third session and we had a little chat with my guide. She scanned my body once again and she asked me how is my relationship with my mom, because our right side of the body represents the masculine, our relationship with our father and with man in our life, and our own masculine energy within. And our left side is our feminine side, our relationship with our mother, with women in our lives, and also with the inner woman. So she asked me right away what was going on with my mom, and I told her that we are not in touch. And it's been a long journey that led us to eventually deciding that this is for the best. So we started going deeper into that, setting intentions to heal that relationship, to accept that relationship. And I had a truly beautiful ceremony. I purged very little, very clean and clear. I had some pain in my lower belly, but it wasn't as bad as during the second ceremony. And I understood that the major work on that area happened during the second one. And then it was flushed out with my period. The third one really gave me a chance to forgive and accept this relationship with my mother and acknowledge once again that I am her and she is me and we are all connected and we all have the right to live our lives the way we choose. I had my little prayer of acceptance during the ceremony and I was hugging a little stuffed frog toy and enjoying the music. And at some point, my guide asked me if I wanted to activate the medicine a little more by applying water on the dots so I get more peptides from the frog for my system. And I said, yes, sure. At this point, let's do it. So I stayed for a little over 20 minutes with the medicine on my body and rested afterwards and felt amazing. Also, this dark stuff that you see on some of the dots, this is not the burn itself. This is the healing ointment that she applies afterwards. It's called dragon's blood. It helps protect the wound and it helps it heal faster. So don't be scared. This is not the actual burn. This is what the actual burn looks like. It's been a couple days since my last ceremony and I'm feeling fantastic. I feel like a lot of limiting beliefs and negative self-talk that I still had going on in my head is gone now. And I feel lighter and I feel more optimistic and I feel more creative and less afraid. Physically, I'm feeling fantastic. The time will show its results, but I feel very clean and ready to invite something new into my life. I felt like January for me was all about molding my new self, healing her, letting her start expressing herself in her authentic way, being very disconnected from community and socializing, just to be present with myself so much that I'm not disturbed by any external frequencies. So I'm able to focus on my purpose and creating this new version of me that is being born as we speak. And healing myself physically was a part of that. It needed to happen during January, and I felt it, and it all aligned. And I'm extremely grateful for this medicine, that we have access to those practices that can remind us our connection with nature, and remind us that we don't have to reach for the pill every time we feel pain or something's wrong with our body. We're so used to doing that, especially in the United States. And it helps us remember that there are other ways to heal yourself, because you are your own healer. I will continue keeping you posted on how I'm feeling a few months after the ceremony. But right now, I'm feeling amazing. One more thing that I want to say about Kambo. For those of you who are still struggling with addictions, different recreational drugs, or maybe even alcohol, and you are really looking for a change, Kambo might be a good thing for you to consider, because it doesn't have to be that hard. That medicine is really there for you to detox your body and your mind and help you have healthy and happy life. But of course, it takes courage and it takes commitment to the change that you would like to see in your life. And as a final note in today's episode, I want to remind you that my intention for this podcast is to be a collective co-creation. So I really welcome those of you who would like to get in touch with me or send me your questions or topics that you would like me to talk about. And there are two ways to do that. You can email your questions to the Dark Muse podcast at gmail.com, or you can DM me on my Instagram, Sasha Davidkina. I'm going to include the links to both of them in the episode's description. Looking forward to knowing who you are, where you're coming from. I see my statistics on all platforms and on YouTube, but just say hi. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, day, or night. We have so much more to talk about. Until next time.